Good morning. Every nation should be concerned about the issue of national orientation. This is reality. It's a contemporary way of talking about a national ideology or national philosophy. There must be a set of values that are that we collectively endorsed to guide, direct, condition, and shaping the process and patterns of our invention. And also to reinstate and amassing information on our social, political, economic engagement in a direction that improves on the living condition of the majority. This should promote sustainable development and ensure national stability and security. At the heart of such an agenda, a time where change is key, we need to uphold a philosophy and a process that goes beyond compelling people to sing the national anthem or recite the national pledge and talk endlessly about patriotism or unity. These things have only momentary values if they are not grounded in common beliefs, commitment, and institutions that people collectively will accept and agree to defend and promote our great nation. I am not alone on the show. This is Crossfire on Channel 196 on Star Times. And I have driving the show with me this morning, as usual, Ishoma Againe.
Good morning, Nigerians, and welcome to the show.
You're looking bright this Friday.
Yes, Friday, TGIF.
Everybody looks towards Friday because when Friday comes, then it's about time to actually rest for the week, especially for some of us who does not work, on Fridays. Our topic today is that we will be elaborating and discussing very extensively on building another new Nigeria. Our country needs to be rebuilt. And over the time, we have had to consider a couple of issues that will make our nation to be repositioned economically, socially, politically, and even in every areas of our development. And that's why this morning, you and I will be considering the National Orientation Program, especially the type that we believe that the new government will usher in as we begin to build another Nigeria. Our country has so much been defaced, devalued. Our people are no more respected. The international passport, when it's being spotted at any airport, it calls immediately for concern. I remember, let me share this experience with you. There was a time I was just at the UK border about to enter, and at a point, I really don't know what went wrong. They told us if you have a Nigerian passport, you go to this side. And that was very embarrassing. We looked at a point in time, we all paused for about 10 seconds, and then we started immediately to identify, okay, who Nigerians here, are likely going to be. And then all of us started coming out. The one that really, baffles me was the fact that there's this family, they have 3 children, a girl which is about their first, and then 2 younger boys. They actually were British citizens, so they didn't follow their parents. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? And so they got cleared immediately, and they started waiting endlessly, for their parents to get cleared. That is to even tell you that if care is not taken and we don't have our national reorientation program in place, you can even separate between families. True. Because that happens at the entrance, gate of an international airport, and that's in the UK, and that is really very baffling. But Ishoma, let's look at national orientation. I believe very strongly that Nigeria needs to be repositioned. And for you and for me, we should start asking these questions. And for our viewers at home, we want you to be a part of our show today. What are your expectations about building another or a new Nigeria? Our country is our country, and we're looking forward to ensuring that this country survives. So Nigeria will survive, Ishoma, but definitely what you and I, give back to her will eventually determine how far, this country succeeds.
Very true.
In your own understanding, you said yesterday on the show, and that really makes a lot of sense, that it's going to be a two-way thing as we walk towards building a new Nigeria, that it's going to be a two-way thing. And you said that it has to be it has to deal with what I have to give to Nigeria and what Nigeria has to give to me. So, I mean, Shoma,
In my own
you
opinion,
may want to really elaborate on that.
in my own opinion, the word reorientation, it means it's changing the attitudes. It's a process of changing an already established, principle or norm. And if you look at, let's be factual here now, in our analysis on this issue. Let's look at Nigeria today. There are so many things which have gone wrong. You wonder why people do not place so much value anymore on human life. There's so many reasons why.
But you agree with me that in this country, we used to be our neighbor's keepers. Where I grew up,
there are some people who ask them, but you do not know.
Buildings do not have fences. You don't,
that was
buildings
when I was much younger, not now.
But now you build walls.
Kiri.
You build walls around.
That's so high, like
your
the
home.
Kiri fence, and you
that you yourself, if eventually you are under an attack, you have created so much security for your attackers. Because people from outside do not even have an idea of what you are going through.
True. But then the whole process of national reorientation starts with education. And I'm talking about formal education, and informal education.
Oh, okay.
And it will transcend into other areas. For example, there's something we call African time. A meeting is slated for 9 a.m. and then you see people turning up 12, acting like, it's a normal thing.
Talk about respect.
Come on.
Talk about
that
respect for
stop.
time. Yeah.
Let us also look at respect for human life also. What's the first thing that clicks your mind when you turn on your TV set and then you see the kind of music videos we have today? You see that it's terrible though. I'm sorry I have to say this on national TV because I also have friends who are musicians also. But the truth has to be told now that
there's so much moral
decadence. You see there's no value anymore for the girl child, for even females. Why? And then you wonder why each time you wonder why the incidences of rape and other assaults of various kinds have skyrocketed in Nigeria.
Yeah.
These were activities which were alien to us. But then you wonder also because of the kind of videos, music videos we've allowed into our nation, the kind of even entertainment videos, that's what I can call home movie videos. Even the songs, the lyrics are no longer deep. Back then in the day, I mean, you listen to songs where they used to talk about unity, about Nigeria as a great nation, about even individuals, Nigerians as great people. There were songs that were clean. There's so many musicians. I mean, I tell people that it's very possible to sell your music, even focusing on clean lyrics. Look at Lucky Dube, for example. He's recognized as the king of reggae, as far as African reggae is concerned. But you listen to his lyrics, you will be inspired to be a better individual.
Now,
without the whole X-rated
let's quickly take a look at this,
it.
Ishoma. If you look at it very well, we're talking about, a nation does not exist in isolation. It's a constituent of people. And now, when we talk about people, we talk about people from different tongues, from different types. We speak different languages. We belong to different religious groups. Our ethnicity differs. But all of these things are supposed to be, in the interest of our collective unification.
And development.
Because our diversity in all of these areas, religion-wise, tribe-wise, political-wise, I think it should grow. It should grow to giving back to a robust and a lively society.
Very true.
Now,
for example,
one thing that I think has failed, sorry to cut you in there, one thing that I think has failed is, let us look at our family units. The family unit is completely broken down. Now, what type of children do families actually produce into the society today? If you talk about someone, participating or contributing into a video production, and the child girl in that particular, video production is almost half nude, or nudity is not something that you and I even struggle with any longer. We see it virtually everywhere. If you're not reading in a newspaper, you're seeing in a video clip, you're seeing it from your, and don't forget, the advancement of technology has made us to have a secret world. You can watch all of this without, even if they ban it on television, you can ban it on my phone. I have a phone, I can browse, I can go to whatever sites that I choose to. And so the Nigerian child is not protected anymore. No parental control, no parental guidance. And eventually these are people who grow. They said children of yesteryears are leaders of tomorrow. And so it is what you put in them now that will eventually develop into the leader they
But
become
another
tomorrow.
thing also, because you made mention of the family unit also. If you look at our family unit of today, it's broken. You said the father has to work, or the mother they have to work from morning to night every day just to be able to put food on the table. And that takes away the time which they would have invested in that child. So look into the attitude. You know, even when they're developing and forming.
Don't you think it's a Nigerian thing? If the society support, maybe the society is not supporting, it's not supporting the family any longer.
But do you know that's the reason why we also hope this new administration will look into it and say, okay, it's not compulsory you work from so and so time to so and so time. Yeah. Let us make laws available to say that from at least you begin to earn per hour. So you know that even if I work from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., I have earned my pay for that particular hours. And I go home, I can decide to close at that time and go home and focus on my family.
Let me say something.
This happens in the US.
Yes.
This happens in the UK. It should be able to happen here.
Do you know
but it all stems from our government.
Do you know we sleep in this country? Do you know Nigeria as a country, we go to sleep. At a point in time, there's every possibility everybody is asleep. Okay, let's say, don't look at it from the perspective of the individuals, the people. Look at it from our institutions. Do you know there is no any time from 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. There's no policing any longer, aside from a few of them that are out there to take advantage of the reason why I'm still on the road at 11 p.m.
And many of them are miscreants who even disguise as
you know. So we go to sleep, and that's why you will find out that traffic will almost kill people in the K2 Mile 12 axis in the night because LASMA closes in Lagos by 10 p.m. or by 11 p.m. on the latest. So we are left to manage ourselves. Nobody controls anybody anymore.
At its peak.
And that is it. So when we talk about national orientation, Ishoma, I think we should consider it from the various elements it is. Nigeria needs to be repositioned back to a 24-hour economy.
But do you know for you to
That's the only way you can work for hours.
But do you know for you to even do that, the first thing you have to get right is your security.
Social security.
Let us look at a country like Israel, for example. You go to Israel, you don't see policemen moving around. You don't. You can even think there are no policemen there. But guess what? There are ways you move. There are some things you do. You won't even know where they will come from and surround you. Why? Because they have cameras, they have CCTV cameras monitoring every individual from your house to the bus stop. Even when you take the train or the bus, the public bus, even when you're late, there are cameras that are moving everywhere. Why? Because they value the lives of their citizens. So even when there's any incident that gives room for suspicion, immediately the police units within that environment, they are alerted and you just come out and surround. Do we have that? There are certain times you even call the policemen, they are shooting in my neighborhood, and then they will begin to tell you.
They will just show up well after
and then they will go and begin to assault people and begin to pick up innocent people to arrest. I mean, come on. So for you to have a nation that works 24 hours, you have to put the first thing in place, national security. Your police force has to be well equipped. And we're not talking about random policemen. We're talking about people, even when you commit a fraudulent act as a police officer, you will be penalized.
Yeah, but we don't even, see, we talked about the family unit. I mean, talking about the family unit, we're talking about a parent, a typical nuclear family, where we have the parent, that's the man, the wife, and his children. Now, oftentimes, more often than not, we have situations in which the parents are even incapacitated. They cannot give the quality of formal or informal education to their children. And that's the fact that here is a man. Don't forget that a typical Nigerian man is messed up. A typical Nigerian man is messed up. He's not a family man anymore. The reason is not because he doesn't like his family. He came about that family in the first place. But the truth is that this man has to work his life out. He leaves very early in the morning. He gets back late at night. So he becomes a stranger even in his own house.
To his own children.
To his own children. Now, I mean, some of us grew up to know our fathers as a man who lives in our house. You see, because in the morning, we are still sleeping when he's leaving the house. We are back, to sleep by the time he's coming in later in the evening. And every time you and I
said something yesterday that I look forward to a time when our nation will be so equipped and developed that for individuals who are not working or do not have a valid job at hand which they're doing, to earn an income, they will be paid a particular amount of money, at least by the government and the state government, let's say at the end of every month. So imagine a woman who loves to work, who loves to earn,
social support. They call that social support. Yeah.
A woman who loves to earn her own money so she doesn't have to run to her husband every time she wants to get something available. She can look and say, okay, my children are priority for me. My family is my #1 office. But because I do not want to lay so much burden on my husband, I can decide to sit at home and work. I can decide to work from home, which will be more comfortable, so she can have time for her family. Or she can also decide and say, oh, okay, let me focus on my family. But she knows at the end of that month, she's getting her stipend from the government. So there are so many things which we need to look into. Now, you mentioned earlier also on religious differences. If you look at our Bible or the Holy Quran or even our traditional African religions, you see every one of them all point to one direction, which is what? Nationality, in the sense that they instill at some point in time disciplines, good values and discipline. Do not steal, do not kill. Even our African traditions, they tell you that even when you steal, there are penalties which are available. So at the end of the day, I expect that when we have a government that is able to infuse and bring together, sit down and redraft this nation, they'll be able to infuse all our religions in such a way and manner that even if you practice this religion, you will be able to know that I am supposed to do this. And this also falls especially on Christians also. In as much as Christians, we know that grace is sufficient for us, but we should not use that as an excuse to misbehave, to steal, to kill, to loot, and commit all sorts of abominable activities and expect to run back. So this is also a call to our religious leaders, our clergymen, be you an imam or a pastor or a bishop, for you to be able to sit down and teach your followers the truth, all moving towards national building and development. That's how I see it.
Now, I mean, we've really, came up with a lot of points. And in the course of our discussion, I came up with a lot of things that we have mentioned. And so when we throw the phone lines open, we expect that our callers will just, clamp on one or two of such, issues that we have raised as we look at an holistic or have an holistic view of what are the things that should be put in place for us to have a proper national reorientation. We have talked about the breakdown in the family unit. We have talked about respect for time. We have talked about social support. We have talked about religious tolerance. Yeah. We have talked about social security. We have talked about ethnicity. We have talked about public education, and we have mentioned building institutions to support all of these things. We'll proceed on a short break now. When we come back, we will start building on each of these elements, and let us see how far we can go with it on the show today. We'll be right back.